Hey babe, do you have the batteries? Alright, so we're on Georgia Tech campus and we're gonna film in that building, but first I gotta find parking. I graduated in 2011 and applied here exactly 11 years ago. Right now, I was doing my applications. I remember writing like 30 versions of my essay. When you're applying to colleges, there's a lot of things that really depend on who you are, your experiences, what kind of classes you took, what extracurriculars you did. There's so many factors in play. And I can't really make a video that says, hey, look, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll get into your dream school. There's no set formula. But there are a couple of things where everyone should do them or everyone should avoid them. And this is what this video is about. So there's 4 points right here, credentials right here. I'm not an agent. Crystals in that building. We're gonna go in there, get the tripod, and start the video. Today we're at UC Irvine, Case Western Reserve in Cleveland.
Penn State Admissions Office.
Alright guys. And we're at Harvard Yard.
Situation, whether it be academically, socially.
Straight from the college. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's something else for the firm.
Behind me is Rice, Caltech. Carnegie Mellon is at the University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado. First thing we're going to talk about has to do with the essay. Now here's what you got to understand. When you're applying to these really competitive colleges, right? Top 50, top 40, top 30. Once you get into the 30s, it's really competitive. Everyone is going to have great grades. Everyone's going to have a great SAT. Everyone's going to have similar extracurriculars. You start looking the same. So the number one thing I want to say is make sure you don't throw it to your agent to write the essay. You want to maximize your tone, your language, your logic in it. Colleges can tell when that essay has been written by an adult. You don't want to look like that. Here's what you got to understand. At that level, once you're in the 30s in rank, there's a certain amount of luck involved in getting in. You could be overlooked easily. You're not that special because it's so selective. You don't want to risk looking like everyone else. You want to pop a little bit. And the only place to pop is on the essay. Here's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid the essay being an extension of your resume. You don't want to use the essay to talk about more of your achievements or why you want to do your major or why you have your life direction. That shouldn't be the center point. You can mention it. You can definitely use the essay to touch on some really special things you've done, but it shouldn't be the centerpiece. The centerpiece of the essay is literally you. And the only way someone can get to know you in 500-600 words is when it's a highly emotional, very deep, touches your soul kind of experience that you write about. So you might have done great things. You might be really special. But there's places to put that. And the next point will address how do you explain your accomplishments in enough detail, right? But the essay is a place to be vulnerable. It's a place to talk about how you respond to failure, how you respond to the world. So don't center it on your accomplishments. Don't center it on why you picked your major. Anything academic, I would say, it makes you seem kind of one-dimensional. You want to show emotional breadth. You want to show maturity. You want to show that you're a full-bodied human being, with a whole set of experiences. So at the end of the day, you want the college admission officer to read your essay and say, you know what? When I see that person on campus, I really want to just grab them by the shoulders and ask them, hey man, how you been? How are you doing? I just want to say hi to them. You want to be an appealing person. So make it strong, powerful about yourself, not an external thing. And your accomplishments are external things. Your plan for a major, those are all external. Okay, so we're going to go up there now and talk about point 2. If you don't use the essay to brag, right? I know you want to do that, talk about the really cool thing you did in your essay. You can touch on it, but don't make it the centerpiece, right? So then where do you brag? In every application, there's going to be an opportunity to upload a resume or a CV or a place where you type in all your accomplishments. And these are your extracurriculars, the clubs that you joined, leadership positions, honors, awards, competitions, books, inventions, businesses that you started, whatever, anything you did outside of the classroom, that goes in your resume. And that is where you brag. So a couple tips here. Number one, you want to make sure you front load your most important, the hardest, the biggest deal accomplishments at the very top. College admissions officers, they don't have a lot of time to read everything and think about it. I know you're thinking, hey, if I say this here, here's what they'll think. It'll make sense to them. They might not do that. So put the most important things front and center at the very top. You don't have to go by chronological order. You don't need to do whatever you did for the longest time or the shortest. There's no rule for it. Put the most important things up top. Second tip is give them an idea of the scope of the work. So how big of a deal was it? For example, if you won a competition, you were third place, there was only one third place, or were there 50 third places and then 20 second places, right? They don't know that. So tell them of how many people. If you were in a leadership position, explain to them, so I was secretary, and that meant I took notes. I took, 50 meetings worth of notes. I had a budget of $20,000. Tell them these things. My club had 500 people or 5 people, right? They don't have this context, even if it's a standard club or a standard leadership position. They don't know that. So the more you tell them, that's more detail. And it also tells them, hey, he recognized the impact, he recognized the significance of his position. In your resume, in that area where you can type your accomplishments, give context. How many people? How long did you do it for? What was the impact? What was the scope? What was the before and after, right? So before you were there, what was it like? After you left, it's like the best thing in the world, right? Tell them that, and that's where you brag. That room, I used to live there my senior year, and we would basically be in that room up there and yell at the girls on that bus stop that we knew, embarrass them. Needless to say, I didn't date anyone my 4 years in my undergrad. This school is like 75% men, and the women are very, very proud. So too proud to date me. We're gonna go there, on that field. No bicycle. You're right. It's 2 wheels, but it's not a bicycle. It's true. I don't think I played any sports once I got out of high school. So I played like soccer, basketball, ran cross country. I was like third to last out of 500 people at my first cross country race. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. But the great thing about college is you don't have to do all those things for college anymore. You can do whatever you want. So when I was in high school, I went to like every club. I did sports I hated. I did all that stuff. I mean, sometimes you gotta do some things you don't like, But once you're grown up, once you're in college, no one cares. Alright, so the third thing we want to talk about has to do with recommendation letters. And there's a whole video. I'm going to put the link right there. It's a whole video on how to get a recommendation letter, who you should get it from. Very detailed I made. Check it out, it's useful. On recommendation letters. So, number one, do not get a famous or high up person that you have no relationship with, that he doesn't even know you, right? Don't get someone like that to write your rec unless you see him at least once every 2 weeks for 6 months. So that's kind of the limit of how well they need to know you. In a US classroom, teachers have a lot of leeway and they do a lot more. There's a lot of latitude in the job description of an American teacher. They'll host clubs, they'll be your coach, they're in the community. If you get a bad grade, you can talk to the teacher, you can ask them for bonus points. You can discuss, hey, this test was really hard, can I retake it? Can I do something more? There's a lot more back and forth, more interaction between students and teachers. So the recommendation letter really builds from that experience, and they write all that nitty-gritty stuff into your rec. Get someone who knows you well, someone that can write about genuinely who you are, right? They've seen you make a sacrifice, or the hardship you went through, or they've witnessed a genuine act from you. Okay, last one. That's the gym, right? That's Georgia Tech's gym. So they built that for the Olympics, and after that they turned it over to the school, and yeah, Tech students use that. I never use it. I used it like twice. Alright, so the last thing you definitely don't want to do is when you're picking your colleges, don't decide based on where your friends are going or where your boyfriend or girlfriend is going. I know it might seem like the most special relationship ever. I know that, I understand that, I've been there. But truth of the matter is, you're like 18 or 19 years old and you're gonna meet a ton of really interesting, beautiful people. You're gonna get curious. He or she is gonna get curious. So apply to different schools or apply to the same, but don't make that decision based on where your friends are going. All right guys, that's it. Share the video, share it with your friends, tweet us, like us, do all that, and subscribe. Do this whole subscription thing. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.